You're listening to the EdTech Startup Show, and I'm your host, Gerard Dawson. Today's episode is titled, Why the Education Market Isn't Real. And this episode is an excerpt. It's one of the lessons that I share in the free course called the 5-Day Copy Fix. And this is a course that's based on the experiences I've had as an education writer and specifically a copywriter for some of the fastest growing edtech companies in America, both on the K-12 school and parent consumer side of things. So if you're somebody who's in charge of doing the marketing for your education company, or you're the founder of a small team and the marketing and sales copy decisions often end up on your desk, this episode is for you. If you like what you hear, you can sign up to receive this lesson along with 4 others that are part of the 5-Day Copy Fix course. And you can do that by going to GerardDawson.com, and right there on the homepage will be the box where you can enter your email and get lesson 1 immediately. That's GerardDawson.com. Before we go on today and talk about the first lesson, why the education market isn't real, I want to share 2 recent listener reviews. The first one is from the user Andrew2Clarify, and the title is Finally, Best EdTech Startup Show on the Internet. And the review says, I've been looking for a great EdTech show focused on startups for a while now. It's been tough to find. What Gerard has put together is the podcast I've been waiting for. Great guests, great topics, and great interviews. Plus, Gerard keeps getting better as a host and interviewer. Highly recommend. Too kind, Andrew2Clarify. Too kind. I appreciate that. One more is from user Rockacar4. The title is Incredibly Useful. And it says, as a teacher and an edtech entrepreneur, I can say this is a very informative and entertaining podcast. It helps immensely that Gerard, the host, is a classroom teacher who also understands startups. If you are just starting out or have been working at your startup a while, you will find some really good information from the edtech entrepreneurs interviewed. I certainly agree, Rockacar4. The guests that we have on the EdTech Startup Show know a ton. Hopefully I'll share something useful today as well. So, Andrew2Clarify, Rockacar4, thank you so much for writing in those reviews. To you listening at home, if you have 15 seconds, it means so much if you leave an honest rating. Tap whatever number of stars you think is appropriate if you're listening on iTunes podcasts. And if you have a couple more minutes, take 2 minutes to pen your honest review of the show. I will gladly read future reviews on the show as well. Feel free to leave your name and company name too. Happy to mention it. So without further ado, here is our lesson for today, why the education market isn't real. I want you to think about the first people who used your education product or service. These are the parents, the teachers, the school leaders, or the students who you're building something for. When you're talking to those people, you weren't talking to some general education market, in quotes, right? They're real people. And when you got them to try out what you're building and they were kind enough to give you some insights, you take those back to your team. That is some valuable stuff. It's like gold. So then you start building and you ship out your new updates. Your product evolves, the team is swamped, and eventually the things that you used to prioritize might fall down the list. And if you're like other edtech leaders or founders of small companies I've worked with, one thing that often gets ignored is your messaging. I'm talking about the public-facing words and images even that you use to present your company. This is your copy. This is important because it's the first thing people see when they meet your company. Even though that's true, I know that busy education companies often fail to turn the valuable product insights that they're learning from their users into better messaging. So the copy kind of stays a little average because you just threw it up there when you first began your journey. The next section of this lesson is called Selling an EdTech Product Means Telling the Right Stories. So if you head over to my website and you click on Case Study, you'll see a story about when I worked with the incredible K-12 EdTech startup Edpuzzle to help with their marketing copy for a big change they were making in their business. And Javi from their team was kind enough to sit down and talk to me a little bit about the project and share what it was like to work with me. So from that experience, I realized that part of the advantage I have is I'm a teacher with about a decade of experience. So when I talk to school leaders, parents, or teachers for research, they can know, like, and trust me quickly. So in this 5-part series, the 5-day copy fix, I want to try to show you the process that I use and how you can also turn that process into results as well. And there's a reason that I think this is important. It's because the people that you serve in the education world are skeptical. If you have a boring website that's just listing your features, parents or school leaders are just going to click to a new window. If the emails that you send them after they sign up for a free trial, if those are boring, everyone's going to click delete, and you might end up not converting enough teachers or tech coaches or school administrators to keep things going. So my main message to you with this lesson is that it's time to move beyond marketing that just talks about what your product is, speaking to some general education market. And instead, I'd like to suggest that you talk to your prospects by showing what your product does for the teachers, parents, or school leaders that you serve. When you focus on the transformation that you're going to cause in people's lives, that's going to lead to more people sticking around on your website, signing up for your service, using it, and becoming eventually long-time paying customers. And the great thing that I've learned from working with education entrepreneurs is that 99% are deeply committed to making a real lasting impact in education. However, you can't make that impact if the people that you're trying to serve don't know what you can do for them. So I'm hoping that this lesson, and if you end up signing up on my website and seeing the remaining lessons, hope that information will help you to make that bigger impact. That's all for this short episode of the EdTech Startup Show, everyone. Again, if you found this interesting, you want to hear me talk a little bit more about communicating and messaging for your product or service, specifically in education, in a way that, as far as I've seen, works, then head on over to GerardDawson.com. Right on the homepage, right above the fold, can't miss it, you'll see the box where you can enter your email, you can sign up, get lesson 1, and when you get that email, please write back to me, introduce yourself, and say hi, and I'll write back. So until next time, everyone, you've been listening to the EdTech Startup Show. I'm your host, Gerard Dawson, and I'll see you soon.